What is up, everyone? My name is Nick Seme. Thank you for tuning in to my first official YouTube video. Some of you guys may have seen me featured on Clay Ratterman's YouTube channel, where we're diving in the process of how to be a walk-on, how to be successful as a walk-on, and really shedding light in terms of our experiences and our insights. So with my first video today, and really first video on the channel, I wanted to give an introduction or background about myself, about where I came from, how I ended up walking on at Ohio State, and really where I am today. So, like I said, first video, if the lighting's a little off or the audio is a little off, just drop a comment below so I can fix that for future videos. And I have some notes down below too, so I'm not crazy. I'm not just staring into space down there or off to the side. You know, I'm staring at my notes. So first thing I wanted to go into is my athletic career, my background with that. So I'm from Wadsworth, Ohio, went to Wadsworth High School. Shout out to all you Northeast Ohioans. I was able to play football and track there. I started on the varsity football team as a sophomore. Unfortunately, had my season cut short due to a right shoulder labrum injury. If you guys have gone through one of those surgeries, and that rehab process, it's long. If you're going through it right now, I feel your pain, and there's light at the end of the tunnel, so keep working at it. Junior year, had a successful season with the team, and we ended up going to the regional finals. And then my senior year was unfortunately cut short. I was only able to really play 3/4 of one game, the first game, and where I suffered an MCL injury while long snapping, actually, for an extra point, or short snapping. So cut short a little bit in high school, a little bit bitter about it, a little bit upset about how things ended. I felt, shorted in terms of my high school career, but I was fortunate enough to continue my athletic and academic careers at Ashland University. So yeah, I mean, it was something that when I first came out of high school, I had all the motivation in the world. I felt like, honestly, I was rehabbing more than I was actually playing the sport itself. So, the chance to get a shot at the collegiate level was big. For someone to take a, chance on you, someone like myself that didn't really have a ton of playing time in terms of playing, all through my 3 years that I had on the varsity football team, it was special, so I thank those coaches, and, I give them, all the credit in the world for giving me, the opportunity to continue my, college career. But with that, I went in as a tight end. I ended up making the transition to fullback due to injury. So with that, I was going into the week, I think it was like week 3 or 4 of the season, and they mentioned to me like, hey, you're going to be starting this week. So very, very ecstatic about that in terms of, where I came from, and now to that point, my freshman year, being able to play, to be in that atmosphere, on game days on a Saturday under the lights in front of your home crowd. So that was something that's very special to me. And something I'll definitely never forget too, to have my family there as well. So that following week after I got the start, I was going through practice and inside run period. And then, I kind of got caught up on a sweep play, and someone kind of jammed into my shoulder, and the feeling really it felt all too familiar to what I felt like in my sophomore season of high school when I tore my shoulder. So it was something that I went to the trainers, went to the doctor, and I mentioned to him, like, Doc, I think this is something that might have to get, an extra look at. The injury was fresh, but it really, like I said, felt all too familiar. So fast forward, I ended up having an MRI, required surgery, tore my labrum in my right shoulder again, same spot. Saw the same doctor for that. So it was very discouraging. I remember giving calling my mom, calling my dad, right when I found out that I was going to have surgery. And, I was very upset about it. And it's still tough to talk about today because, not that I got my hopes up to play in college, but it was something that I thought, the injuries were behind me. I was really focused, really dedicated to it. And I felt like I was doing everything the right way. And unfortunately, that's not always how it turns out. So, but like I wouldn't trade it for the world. I wouldn't have made any other decision, even knowing what I know now. And also too, people deal with a lot worse things. So it really gave me perspective, and it humbled me in terms of how I view sports. And, they were a big part of my life, especially growing up, but it's not my entire life. So that's kind of the motto I live by. So after my first year of college, or really my only year at Ashland, I decided to transfer. So I met up with a lot of good friends down at Ohio State that I actually went to high school with. My girlfriend was down there too. So it was something I was excited to get a new start, turn the page on a new chapter, and really focus on my exercise science major with the long-term goal of becoming a physical therapist, which was rooted in my athletics and then my rehab process, for my other injuries, which I'm sure is common for those other people that, are looking to become a physical therapist. So not only was I transitioning geographically from Ashland to Columbus, but I also had to make the transition from student athlete to athlete. And a lot of you know, whether you're coming out of high school and having to leave sports behind, or if you're in college and having to leave sports behind for whatever reason, it's difficult. I'm not saying one is better than the other, in terms of being a student athlete or an athlete or just student, but it's tough, and it's not an easy transition because sports were always there for you, and a lot of you have done it, most of your life, so it's really all you know. Where sports also gives you structure. It gives you a team camaraderie. It gives you a common goal, a common purpose with all your teammates. It gives you friends. It gives you really a time commitment that is unlike any other, and really a sense of being greater or something greater than yourself. So, with that, I had to find and take up other hobbies. So I took up, nutrition and strength and conditioning and my exercise science major more seriously than I have in the past. And I really try to live that out the best that I could. So, I'd be training and whatnot. I'd be training on game days, because I didn't buy season tickets, because honestly, I was pretty bitter about, playing against guys that, were down there on the sidelines. And not that I necessarily thought that I could go down there and play, at that moment when I first transferred down there, but it was tough to watch and tough to sit back and say, that chapter of my life was done. So even though I made the transition down to Ohio State, deep down inside, I felt like I had more to give. So, and that honestly, helped me come back and help me, be the person I am today. So in terms of, my motivation and my why in terms of becoming a walk-on, so I really didn't find out about the walk-on tryout until my fourth year at Ohio State, or fourth year total in college, my third year at Ohio State. So the fall of 2016, going into actually winter break. So December of 2016, I got a text that was a screenshot from my roommate that was from the Ohio State Twitter page that said, we're having an open tryout top of January. So really, I didn't think about it much then because I didn't know if I was ready for it mentally or physically. But it's something that I've been, completing strength and conditioning programs from friend of a friend, and talked to only my mom, my dad, and my girlfriend. And I told them that it's something that I'm gonna, I'm willing to give it a shot. And ultimately, I think I wanted to do it to provide closure to myself. Not only if I made the team, obviously that'd be a huge lifelong goal of mine to become a Buckeye. But if I didn't make the team, I knew that I put everything that I had into it. And it just wasn't meant to be. It just wasn't right. It wasn't, what I was put on this earth for, which was totally fine. And I knew that going into it. So, at the time too, my mom was dealing with some health issues. So I had some family stuff that I had going on along with that in the winter time, that hurt, my mom required surgery and whatnot. So that also played into my motivation, because I wanted to do it not only for myself, but I wanted to do it for my family, and not my family in terms of only my mom, but also my brothers too, because I wanted to show them that it's possible, whether I made the team or not. I wanted to show them hey, if you, put your nose to the grindstone and you can work, regardless if it has an immediate payoff or not, you can do it, So I think the commitment of it was inspiring to me, and it had much less to do about the fame and the status of being a student athlete at Ohio State. And it had a lot more to do of, self-fulfillment, purpose, being greater, or being a part of something greater than yourself. So that was really my main motivations. And the tryout experience itself. So fast forward, I get to the top of January, inquire about the walk-on tryout, go to the meeting, end up going a few days later to the actual tryout. That's where I, got to get a better relationship with Clay, which we'll touch on in future videos in terms of the actual tryout, what to expect. You guys can all check that out on his page. But the tryout itself, one vivid memory that I have, I started out in the 225 bench test. I take, the strength coach is helping, rack. And so he unracks the weight and he goes to me, he goes, "It's time to be a Buckeye." And still, like, I get chills to this day thinking about it and reliving that moment. But, I knew at that moment right there, I was like, all right, I have to bust out. I had to go, it was my time to shine. And, a quote that I have, some people may have heard it, but let the light inside shine brighter than the spotlight on you. So that was something that I, wrote, tucked it in my shoe, and something that I live by to this day. So, little tokens like that are helpful when you're in the moment and trying to perform. So my time on the team, I'm just going to go over like a few highlights. So the springtime, I came in originally having a background in, with a tight end, fullback, linebacker background. When I walked onto the team, the walk-on coordinator mentions to me, he goes, "You're going with the D-line." And that scared me a little bit because I never played the position before. I knew, Coach Johnson, who's, at Ohio State right now and coaching the defensive line, an elite coach, one of the greatest of all time. Not only that, but it also had players that were talked about being top draft picks and elite people and elite players, with that. So it was something that was intimidating, I'm not going to lie at first, so I had to, overcome that mentally, understand that I was going to make mistakes and really just try to work as hard as I can. And I really couldn't have done it without, Coach Johnson and the players there, because they brought me in as one of their own. They brought me in their brotherhood, regardless, or, despite the fact that it's my first year on the team, I'm coming off the streets as a walk-on, and they knew that I didn't really have the experience, but they helped me and they were willing to help me in any way possible. And my success was, always at the credit of them, because, they brought me to that elite standard and I had no other option. So that's something that pushed me and, it made me better, and something that, in terms of the connections, the friendships, I'm forever indebted to them. And, I'm very thankful for that. Over the summer and into the fall camp, I was a little banged up, trying to take care of my body as much as I could. I was fortunate enough to be in about 20 snaps all season, which might not seem like a lot. And I got them in garbage time, I'm not going to lie. But I was able to, make my stamp, I guess, in that way. And I'll always remember running out onto the field in Ohio Stadium, turning, getting a call from the sidelines and being able to put my hand in the turf and play, even though it was about 20 plays. Got 2 tackles, so you can look me up in the Maryland game from the 2018 or 2017 season, which is, I'm sure, long forgotten about by now. But anyways, so after the Cotton Bowl game where we defeated USC, my time on the team came to a close because I got my last year. So that was really I was going into my 5th year of school, which was during the season. And the reason why I got that season is because I had the red shirt from my first year at Ashland. So we can go into the eligibility more, Clay touches on it on his channel more, but the reason why I was able to get that last year at all was because actually I got hurt, my first year. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise, and, something that ended up stars aligned and worked in my favor. So once I finished up that winter, my exercise science major required me to fulfill an internship, and it was really open-ended in terms of where you wanted to do it. You could set it up on your own. So I talked with the strength coaches, and, they gifted me with the opportunity to be a strength intern for the winter and spring months until I graduated. That's that May. And so, I mean, Coach Mick, Coach Quinn, Coach Toos, Coach Nico, all of them, the lessons that, I learned from them, not only on the floor coaching, but also life goals and life lessons. It's something that was just as valuable as me walking on to begin with, and something that is invaluable in terms of my career as a physical therapist, strength and conditioning specialist, etc. So it's something that, my hat's off to them, for giving me the opportunity, for, bringing me in with no experience with a strength and conditioning background and really molding me to the Buckeye standard. So, and while I'm doing my strength and conditioning internship, Coach Quinn, which was one of the assistant football strength coaches, he was coaching myself and 3 other athletes from the football team for the pro day. And he did that out of the kindness of his heart. And so he did all the programming. He helped us with nutrition. And he helped us, tapering for the pro day. So, I'm so grateful for him and for his guidance throughout that, because I couldn't have done it by myself. And it was something that he wasn't expecting anything in return, whether it was financially or whatever. So, it's something that, not only was special to me, but it was also a learning experience as well. So after the Ohio State Pro Day, I was also able to participate in the local Pro Day for the Cleveland Browns. And so after draft day, I wasn't drafted, so I went as an undrafted free agent. I got the opportunity to go to Cleveland and Cincinnati's rookie mini camps because they were in back-to-back weeks. So they weren't the same week, so I was able to do 2 of them. And then got a call back to Cleveland for their veteran camp, which is in like the middle of July. So that week, all the players from that organization have to come in, because everything prior was not mandatory. So they would have to come in for that week, and then they'd have like a month break before they would start camp, bottom of July or top of August. So I went there, and then, it was pretty open-ended process, because I was going in as a long snapper. There's only 32 jobs. So they mentioned to me, keep snapping, keep working, and we'll be in contact. So like I mentioned before, my career path is, physical therapy. So I'd applied to schools like a year before, and I ended up having interviews, and I loved the campus and really the program at the University of Dayton. So I accepted a position there, and really accepted a spot to be in the school there. So with the opportunity of long snapping in the NFL kind of coming to a close the end of that summer, because I didn't hear back, I enrolled at the University of Dayton, and right now I'm in my 2nd year of physical therapy school. So I've got a little bit more time and money left before I'm done next spring, but I really couldn't be happier with where I am. The people that have helped me to this point, obviously my family, my girlfriend, my friends, you guys know who you are. Everyone at Ohio State, everyone at Ashland, the coaches that, helped me in high school. I'm forever grateful to you guys. So it's something that I now want to give back in any way possible. So whether that's life goals, I guess, trying to, in terms of achievement of your life goals, I want to be there to help you in any way I can. I want to help you athletically, whether it's strength and conditioning, exercise science, physical therapy. I really want to use any of my knowledge and my experience to help you guys. So any questions that you guys have, I'm willing to answer them. So drop those below. Subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at @NickSeme_. I'm so excited to get to know you guys a little bit more. I appreciate you guys tuning into my first YouTube video. And like I said, you guys will be getting some more videos soon. Thank you.